Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dr. G's Dandelion Monologues. I do not have the usual green background for various reasons. It's getting colder with the fall, and the course of the sun changes a little bit, so I'm trying to adapt my setting to fit with the natural world as it overlaps with my availability in my schedule. And also, I thought that this pretty plain background could reflect or represent well a recent environment that I have been in last week while I was at a conference in a big city. Quite intimidating at first, to be honest. When I arrived there with my luggage, the sky was gray and there were these skyscrapers, very high, not a lot of colors, not a lot of trees. So I was a little bit disoriented and uncomfortable because I had lost my cues that really contribute to my well-being. And I'm going to walk you through my process then in the hope that it helps you reconnect with your recipe to well-being. And I would even say well-becoming, because well-being seems a little bit static as opposed to well-becoming, which is always dynamic, which is always happening or needs to be reconnected with or protected. So what I realized when I was in that big city last week, also post-election day in the US, was how neglecting, just even for a few days, certain aspects of my self-care to maintain well-becoming was critical. And it was very eye-opening for me to also realize that taking care of one's own emotions by seeing them, acknowledging them, not judging them, and making space for them is actually part of the self-care. So as I was lying there in the studio, 24th floor, which was also an interesting experience, the studio I was renting, and trying to catch up on sleep because I had a red-eye flight and I hadn't slept at all, which didn't help with my well-becoming. I've just had the energy to look at the flow of my emotions coming through me, and slowly I stepped out of that discouragement for not being able to maintain my self-care routine because of the travel and the change of schedule and everything else. And the next day I felt better. Also, the sky was blue, so that helped. I really need blue sky. I can't really do very well in a climate where there's rain all the time or the sky is gray. That's just my nature. I need to see color. Color is my anchor. That's something I know about myself. But I found ways to focus on the colors, the bold colors of the studio. There was a really vivid blue couch and a painting with some colors. So I focused on that. I focused on the little bee on the cup, on the mug, the yellow of the bee, and on what I was wearing, making it colorful. And little by little, I stepped out of my torpor as I focused more on the colors, welcomed them as they were showing up in natural life and also in the studio. And I walked in the morning and I journaled, which is also part of my routine. And that made me realize that just missing a few items of my routine checklist was sufficient to throw me off balance. especially in a vulnerable time when there were a lot of emotions. And also in parallel to reestablishing with those activities that are really good for my whole being and whole becoming, the emotions should not be dismissed. So that was an eye-opening moment to just realize that sometimes that's all I can do, is to sit with my emotions and let them go through me. And as I expanded on the self-care, reconnected with the joys of living and visiting places I had never been to, and enjoying new food and being grateful for that, I also realized something else when I got back home, which was sometimes it takes a lot of energy to maintain the self-care routine or to initiate it. And I realized that by combining two self-care modalities, it might be easier, such as taking a bath. For me, it has often been a waste of time because, well, I'm not being productive. I'm sitting in a tub. I could take a shower. It will take me 4 to 10 minutes, as opposed to a tub where I'll feel like soaking for half an hour. So having this kind of productivity mindset most of my life, that was not really something that I did regularly. But I reconnected with that because I see the cleansing power of taking a bath and all the possibilities that come with just soaking in water and lighting up a candle, and there's aromatherapy combined. So adding something like reading a book while in the tub, or doing a meditation while in the tub, or talking on the phone with a friend while in the tub, are all activities that actually create a synergy and a more potent effect of the self-care. So these were my reflections, very practical tips, and obviously everyone's different, so everyone might have a different recipe, but I just realized that there were pillars of my self-care that I could not avoid, such as adequate sleep, walking every day or moving my body, connecting with nature. I started feeling better in the big city when I could find areas with trees and a park where I could sit, and journaling and connecting with people. So I hope you are interested in discovering more about what works for you, and I wish you the intention needed to implement what you should do for your well-becoming. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye.